The price of chasing money? It's steeper than you think. You pay with your peace, your sanity, and sometimes, even your soul. Every dollar you crave, another thread of fear tightens around your mind, squeezing a little more with each anxious thought. The more you want, the more you worry. The more you have, the more you fear losing it. It's a cycle that never seems to end, a hunger that only grows. We're told that wealth is the cure for anxiety, that if you just had enough, all your worries would melt away, and we're told that poverty is the root of panic, that not having enough is the only thing to fear. But the truth is far more complicated. Money is a mask, a clever disguise. Fear doesn't disappear when you have more. It just hides behind new faces, waiting for the right moment to reappear. Solve your finances, they say. Get your money right, and peace will follow. But the mind is a maze, full of hidden corners and dark alleys. Even when your bank account is full, fear finds new places to hide. It shifts, it adapts, it survives. The worries just change shape, from bills to investments, from survival to status. Psychology screams a warning. Money can't buy peace. It only buys new disguises for your terror. The more you chase, the more you realize that true security isn't found in numbers or possessions. It's found in understanding your own mind, in facing your fears instead of covering them up. Fear never leaves. It just changes its mask. Until you look beneath the illusion, you'll always be running from yourself. Money haunts us all, weaving its way into our thoughts, our choices, and our dreams. There's the fear of losing it, of watching your savings vanish overnight, or your job slip away without warning. The terror of bills piling up, each envelope a reminder of what you owe and what you might lose. The dread of being judged for not having enough, for not keeping up, for falling behind. Or the shame that comes with losing what you once had, feeling the world's eyes on your every misstep. The panic of failing your family, of not being able to provide, protect, or reassure them. The ache of feeling worthless, no matter your bank balance. These fears grip rich and poor alike, uniting us in silent anxiety. The human brain is not designed to feel satisfied for long. It's really designed to protect survival. And survival, from a psychological perspective, is not about money at all. It's about perceived control. From early childhood, the brain learns one powerful lesson. Safety comes from predictability. Money becomes one of the strongest symbols of predictability the brain can attach to. But, symbols are dangerous when mistaken for guarantees. A person with little money fears losing stability. A person with a lot of money fears losing status. Different narratives, same emotional signal. The amygdala, a small almond-shaped cluster deep within the brain, doesn't analyze or calculate things like income levels, social status, or material wealth. Its job is much more primal and immediate. It simply reacts to perceived threats, whether they're physical, emotional, or even imagined. The amygdala is always on alert, scanning for danger. And what counts as a threat is highly subjective. For one person, it might be a harsh word. For another, it could be a sudden change in routine or environment. When the brain senses that our identity, sense of security, or feeling of control might be taken away, the amygdala triggers fear almost instantly, setting off a cascade of emotional and physical responses. This is actually why having more money or possessions doesn't necessarily calm the mind or make us feel safe. In fact, for many people, wealth can actually overstimulate the amygdala, leading to even more anxiety and stress, rather than peace. The more someone has, the more the brain imagines what could be lost. More money creates more scenarios, more responsibility, more expectations, more comparison. And honestly, comparison is one of the most underestimated sources of fear. A poor person compares upward and feels inadequate. A rich person compares upward and feels replaceable. The direction changes, but the emotion does not. Fear is not about what you have. It's about what you believe you must protect to remain worthy. This is where self-worth quietly merges with money. Most people are never taught to separate who they are from what they earn. So the brain uses money as evidence of value. When income is low, fear says, I am failing. And when income is high, fear says, I must not fail. Both are prisons. Psychology calls this identity-based anxiety. when external conditions define internal worth. This is why financial success often increases anxiety instead of reducing it. Success raises the bar, and the brain immediately adjusts. What once felt like safety becomes the new baseline. What once felt like abundance becomes normal. This process is called hedonic adaptation. The emotional reward fades faster than expected, so the brain demands more money, more recognition, more reassurance. But reassurance never lasts, because, fear is not satisfied by numbers. It's satisfied by meaning, and meaning, well, it's fragile when built on external validation. Another shared fear between rich and poor is invisibility. Poor people fear being ignored because they lack resources. Rich people fear being ignored without achievement. Both fear becoming irrelevant. And honestly, modern society intensifies this fear constantly. Social media, success stories, highlight reels, they all reinforce the idea that visibility equals value. So, the mind stays alert, always comparing, always scanning for threats. And fear, well, it becomes chronic. This is why, money alone never brings peace. Peace is not a financial outcome. It is actually a psychological skill. The brain doesn't relax when it gains control. It relaxes when it accepts uncertainty. But honestly, acceptance is rarely taught. Instead, people are taught to chase safety through accumulation. The poor chase it through survival. The rich chase it through preservation. Different strategies, but yeah, the same anxiety. Even financial freedom does not eliminate fear. It often exposes deeper ones. Without money problems to focus on, the mind turns inward. The questions become louder. Who am I without struggle? What happens if I stop proving myself? What if everything I built disappears? These questions honestly haunt people across all income levels. Fear isn't really about scarcity. It's about impermanence. Nothing lasts. And the brain just hates that. So it clings. It clings to money, to status, to routines, to control. But, well, control is temporary. This is why so many people feel anxious even at their highest point of success. They realize, consciously or not, that the fall is always possible, and the higher the position, the harder the imagined fall. Meanwhile, those with less money experience fear in a more visible way: bills, debt, instability. But the emotional pain is not lesser or greater, it's simply shaped differently. Fear does not measure severity, it measures threat to identity. This understanding, honestly, changes everything. It reveals that money is not the root of fear. Fear existed long before money ever did. Money only gave it a language. When people believe money will fix their inner tension, they postpone emotional work. They delay self-awareness. But, no amount of income replaces psychological clarity. Real security begins when self-worth is detached from outcomes. When value is internal instead of conditional, it doesn't mean that money is, irrelevant. It just means that money is incomplete. Financial stability can definitely reduce external stress, but it can't really eliminate internal fear. Only awareness can do that. When people realize that fear is, universal, shame just dissolves. Comparison loses its power. The rich stop pretending they're immune, and the poor stop believing they're broken. Honestly, everyone carries the same nervous system. The same survival instincts, the same vulnerabilities. Fear doesn't discriminate, it adapts. And once this is really understood, the relationship with money shifts. Not because money changes, but because the mind does. The greatest psychological freedom is realizing that fear doesn't define failure and money doesn't define worth. When this lesson is truly integrated, money becomes a tool instead of an identity, a resource instead of a judge. And honestly, that shift matters more than any number ever could.